get into all this, the less family-friendly the content does become, because anybody can watch I Love Lucy or the Andy Griffith Show.
Right.
I mean, as a kid watching Gilligan's Island, there's nothing in there. Like, okay, Ginger wore
Coconuts.
I mean, even that would be like, that's as far as it went. Most of the time it was just a very tight dress.
Yeah.
And then you get into Three's Company and MASH, and it's a little bit more suggestive. And then you get into like Murphy Brown and Cosby Show. We're not going to go there.
I'm sorry. I think you said something, but I couldn't hear you.
If you say it 3 times, you'll appear.
No.
But now you look back on, like, I think even modern Family Guy.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing, I mean, granted they're on network TV, it doesn't approach Rick and Morty at all. No. And it does get to the point where, like, yes, with The Simpsons, I would let my granddaughter watch just about any episode of The Simpsons. I'd be a little more cautious about Family Guy, but then with Rick and Morty, it's like, when you're in high school, if you want to watch this, fine.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, even looking at like Friends is now very tame.
Yeah.
At the time, or even, I mean, I think the better example actually is Seinfeld, because I remember when they did the Bet episode.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. Conservative groups wanted that show canceled because of that episode.
You know what's funny about that episode is that I distinctly remember, like, walking in on that episode and my stepmom rushing to grab the remote and clicking it off.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like, I don't remember what time of night it was, but they had been up watching it, right? Because that was my dad and my stepmom's show for when the kids and I, like, when we were heading up to bed. This is like in the early stages of them dating.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember them taking the remote and clicking it off, and it was Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until years later that they told me that it was that episode.
Mm-hmm. Well, when mom and dad wanted to get spicy back in the 90s, they'd watch Seinfeld, and then, if they were really naughty, they'd watch NYPD Blue. And, and that was what the choices were at the time. And NYPD Blue, somebody said shit. Oh God.
No.
And you got to see somebody's butt. Oh, yeah.
Now you can watch stuff like Game of Thrones and get a whole, full frontal.
Yeah. Which, like, the next step is just porn.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well just put on the hub.
Yeah. That'll be like 10 years from now when we're like
in the nursing home.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll be in the nursing home, I'll be a CNA.
You won't be that far behind me.
20 years. But, it's just the thing with, like, you said, I would let my kids watch The Simpsons. The Simpsons is even on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
We've watched the Simpsons movie with, my kids. It's harmless. Family Guy, we're not going there with them yet.
That's a little bit more
mature. Yeah.
But not.
It's not Rick and Morty.
It's not Rick and Morty.
But, that's the thing, too, is that these shows are becoming progressively more provocative and intense as the years go by. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing. I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing.
No, as a man currently making an R-rated animated movie, I wholeheartedly endorse it. So.
Oh yeah, you like that, you fucking.
Jesus Christ, man! You won't yell at them, but you'll fucking shoot them?
Not that I'm in it or anything. I have a fun character in that movie.
How can you watch someone who lacks any sort of personality?
She's got great tits.
Yes, she does.
I'm very good at Cali Girl impressions. We'll just leave it at that. Even though I'm from Minnesota.
Which isn't, another thing too. You're from Minnesota.
Oh yeah, I'm from Minnesota, don't you know?
Yeah, I currently live in Minnesota, but I'm like, from like California originally.
Oh
so.
yeah. Like, oh my god, you're from California?
So I don't know, like, if even there was where growing up for me, and I've talked to people who are like, who now live here, or I now live here, people who grew up here, and I'll tell them about like just what I thought was normal childhood, teenage stuff, and they're like, you got up to some like gangsta shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it really depends on where you are. Because I grew up northern Minnesota. And gangster shit is not what I would describe what I did. The worst thing that I ever did growing up was hang out with my friends and not be where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be at ski practice, and me and my friends decided to go play in a baseball field.
Yeah.
I'm such a rebel.
I bought drugs.
The life of a drug addict.
I got
Check out James, he's drunk. Oh my god.
I had never even smoked pot until I was an adult. I never even tried any of that.
So then for you watching something like Seinfeld or Friends, what was like, because for me it was like, okay, that's another, I wasn't from New York, but I was like, it's another big city.
So New York, I guess it was one of those things where it seemed like a far off distant place. Like, the biggest city I had ever been to. So like, even when we would make trips out to St. Paul or Minneapolis, I was just like, what is this place? And it was a mind-boggling to me. So when I would watch these shows, I would sit there and I'd be like, they're in New York, this is so different. I want to go there one day. And then of course I go there one day and I'm like, I want to go to Minnesota, they drive crazy, I want to go, I want to go home. I even went to San Diego one time for filming a video vlog, and I got paid for it. And again, I love the experience and everything. It was a really big city. It was a beautiful city. Coronado Beach was beautiful. Once again, you guys drive like crazy. But
I'm not crazy about Minnesota drivers.
Okay. Everyone sucks. But it was one of those things where it's like, it was so different, and I just sat there and I was like, I like traveling. I like seeing all these different places, especially if they're like from shows that I've seen. I'm ready to go home. But that's the fun part about TV shows and movies and everything. They show you these places that you want to go, and then when you actually go to the places, you get really excited.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're kind of living your, fantasy out a little bit. Maybe not extravagant because you don't have all the, budget and everything, but you're still like, I'm here.
You're living your fantasy out unless your girlfriend dumps you in front of Nakatomi Plaza, which happened to me. So...
Yeah, no, anytime I've traveled, it's been by myself, and I've, done pretty well for myself. Had some, margaritas and street tacos, and haven't been dumped, so... But, if you need, I have a tiny violin here for you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I can't hear it. Let me turn the hearing aid up just a little bit.
It was scratchy.